My name is Jeevan and welcome to another beautiful video. Did you know that the world's biggest economies are practically swimming in debt? I'm not talking about forgetting to pay back your friend for that time they covered your latte. We're talking trillions of dollars, the kind of money that makes Scrooge McDuck's money bin look like a piggy bank. And the numbers? Well, they're going up faster than a caffeinated squirrel on a wheel. It's enough to make you wonder, are we all just one global recession away from living in a cardboard box? Don't answer that yet because in this video we're diving headfirst into the murky waters of national debt. We're talking top 10 lists, shocking figures, and enough economic jargon to make your head spin faster than a politician trying to explain away a spending scandal. We'll be exploring the top 10 countries with the highest national debt, their debt to GDP ratios, because what's more fun than a good ratio? And what all this red ink means for their economies, and maybe, just maybe, our own. Buckle up, kids, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Coming in at number 10, it's the land of the rising sun, sushi, and apparently a whole lot of debt, Japan. With a national debt totaling over $12 trillion, Japan's debt to GDP ratio is a staggering 255.9%. That's like trying to pay off a mortgage that's more than twice the value of your house. So how did Japan end up in this predicament? Well, picture this: a rapidly aging population, low birth rates, and economic stagnation. It's like the economic version of a sad Keanu Reeves meme. To stimulate growth, Japan has been on a government spending spree for decades, borrowing heavily to fund public works projects and social programs. Think of it as giving the economy a constant IV drip of cash. But like any good party, eventually the bill comes due. And in Japan's case, it's a really big bill. Coming in at number 9 is a country that knows a thing or two about debt crises, Greece. Greece, the land of ancient ruins, beautiful beaches, and an economy that's been teetering on the brink for, well, let's just say a while. With a national debt north of $431 billion and a debt to GDP ratio hovering around 171.3%, Greece has become the poster child for fiscal irresponsibility. Years of excessive spending, tax evasion that would make even the most hardened accountant blush, and a generous pension system have all contributed to Greece's economic woes. Remember that time Greece hosted the Olympics? Yeah, that didn't help. It's enough to make you want to drown your sorrows in ouzo, but then you remember, Greece needs all the tax revenue it can get. At number 8 we have Italy, a country known for its delicious food-passionate people and, you guessed it, a whole heap of debt. We're talking about over $2.8 trillion in debt with a debt-to-GDP ratio of roughly 144.4%. That's like ordering one too many scoops of gelato and then realizing you left your wallet at home. Italy's economic woes stem from a toxic cocktail of sluggish growth, high unemployment, especially among young people, which is just depressing, and a cumbersome bureaucracy that would make even Kafka throw up his hands in despair. Add in a dash of political instability, and you've got yourself a recipe for, well, let's just say it's not a recipe for economic success. Sailing into our number 7 spot, it's Portugal, a country known for its beautiful coastline, melancholic fado music, and yes, a rather substantial debt burden. With a national debt just shy of $300 billion and a debt-to-GDP ratio of around 120.5%, Portugal's economy is about as stable as a house of cards in a hurricane. Like many countries on this list, Portugal has been grappling with slow economic growth, high unemployment, and a hefty dose of austerity measures. It's enough to make you want to pack your bags and head for the Algarve, but then you remember, Portugal needs all the tourists it can get to boost its economy. Coming in at number 6 is a country that's small in size but big on debt, Belgium. This nation of waffle enthusiasts and chocolate connoisseurs is carrying a national debt of over $582 billion, with a debt-to-GDP ratio of 104.6%. That's like eating an entire box of Belgian chocolates in one sitting and then realizing you can't afford the gym membership you need to work it off. Belgium's debt woes can be attributed to a combination of factors, including high government spending on social welfare programs. Hey, someone's got to pay for all that delicious chocolate, right? Sluggish economic growth, and the ever-present issue of an aging population. It's enough to make you want to seek solace in a Belgian waffle, but at this rate, they might have to start making them out of potatoes. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the country that prints the world's reserve currency, the champion of capitalism, the land of the free, and the home of the deeply indebted, the United States of America. That's right, folks. The US is currently sitting on a national debt that's larger than a Texas-sized pile of $100 bills. We're talking over $31 trillion, with a debt-to-GDP ratio of 128%. It's enough to make you want to scream, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore." So how did the world's largest economy end up in this predicament? Well, it's a long and complicated story involving tax cuts, wars, financial crises, more tax cuts, entitlement programs, and a healthy dose of good old-fashioned overspending. It's like a financial version of The Hangover. Except instead of waking up with a tiger in the bathroom, we're stuck with a mountain of IOUs. Chapter 7. Coming in at number 4 is a country known for its sunny beaches, fiery flamenco dancing, and, you guessed it, a whole lot of debt: Spain. With a national debt of over $1.5 trillion and a debt-to-GDP ratio of 113.2%, Spain's economy is about as stable as a bull in a china shop. Spain's debt woes can be traced back to a number of factors, including a housing bubble that went bust faster than you can say "ol", high unemployment, and a hefty dose of government spending. It's enough to make you want to take a siesta and forget about it all, but then you remember, Spain's economy needs all the tourists it can get. Chapter 8. Third place, France. Ooh la la, look at that debt. Taking the bronze medal in our debt? Olympics is, you guessed it, France. The land of baguettes, berets, and a certain je ne sais quoi when it comes to racking up debt. With a national debt of over $3 trillion and a debt-to-GDP ratio of 112.6%, France is about as far away from a balanced budget as a croissant is from a kale smoothie. So how did France end up in this predicament? Well, it's a combination of generous social programs, healthcare, pensions, you name it, high taxes, which ironically haven't stopped the debt from growing, and an economy that's about as sluggish as a snail after a long night of escargot. It's enough to make you want to surrender to the debt and eat your weight in cheese, but then you remember, someone's got to pay for all those baguettes. Chapter 9. Second place, United Kingdom. Keep calm and carry on borrowing. Coming in at a solid second place, it's the United Kingdom, a country known for its royal family, its love of tea, and, you guessed it, a truly impressive amount of debt. With a national debt of over $2.7 trillion and a debt-to-GDP ratio of 95.9%, the UK's economy is about as predictable as the weather in London. Read expect rain, or in this case, debt. The UK's debt can be attributed to a number of factors, including the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, Brexit-related uncertainty, because who needs economic stability when you can have political turmoil, and of course, good old-fashioned government spending. It's enough to make you want to hop on a double-decker bus and head for the Scottish Highlands, but then you remember, Scotland's part of the UK, so they've got debt too. Chapter 10. First place, Germany. Don't mention the debt, but seriously, they have a lot of it. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, the country that takes the gold medal in our debt Olympics is Germany. That's right, the land of efficiency, precision engineering, and a certain chancellor with a penchant for sensible shoes is also the country with the highest national debt in the world. We're talking a whopping $2.9 trillion, with a debt-to-GDP ratio of 69.3%. Now, before you start picturing Germans drowning in a sea of debt, it's important to note that Germany's economy is actually quite strong. They're the economic powerhouse of Europe, known for their exports, their fiscal discipline most of the time, and their ability to make things that actually work. So, how did they end up with so much debt? Well, it's a combination of factors, including the cost of reunification, the 2008 financial crisis, and a little thing called the European sovereign debt crisis. So, there you have it, folks, the top 10 most indebted countries in the world. It's a sobering reminder that even the most powerful economies have their weaknesses, and that managing debt is like walking a tightrope while juggling chainsaws. One wrong move and it's all over. But hey, at least we can all bond over our shared financial woes, right? Which country's debt surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Nepali Agriboy for more eye-opening videos, and maybe share this video with your friends. After all, misery loves company, especially when it comes to trillions of dollars in debt. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and try not to think about the national debt too much. It's not like you can do anything about it anyway.